welcome to the 177th episode of the Solid Stage Podcast, where we talk about hardwood and polish and acrylic with your hosts, Nat from Nap's Naughty Works and Josh from North Country Woodworking. We've got a little bit to talk about tonight. We actually have two topics in mind. Specifically, we talk about the honey-do list and projects that we want to get to, but we haven't gotten to, and things that might have been holding us back. And then a second topic that may or may not have eluded the two of us before we got on the episode, but we'll probably think about it in the middle. But either way, we'll talk about shop. We'll talk about things. We'll talk about my lack of a deer in my freezer. Deer are smart. We'll get to that. And
yes, they are.
And then we'll get to December, because December's coming around really quick. And I'll mention it right in the beginning of the episode. If you don't know, we are giving away a Workbench Con ticket from us, the Sawdust Station Podcast. But then also, to make it sweeter, Daniel from PW and CNC is also sponsoring a second ticket. So it's not one, but two tickets to Workbench Con. Yes, you have to find your way there, and yes, you have to get yourself lodging. But the ticket in itself, I think, is a treat, as well as our patrons, who are also going to be receiving, and yes, I said our patrons, receiving baskets or bags or boxes of some sort from us here at the Sawdust Station Podcast. Because, hey, Christmas doesn't just bring a big giveaway. It brings the treats for our patrons that have been supporting us all year. But with that, we'll talk a little bit probably more towards the end of the episode on that and how you can win those tickets. I'm going to kick it on over to Josh. I know we've been pretty busy with real life, real work. Well, not me. I've been on leave. It's been great. But Josh, dude, shop. Yeah, love it, dude. Pick that nose with the middle finger. It's good. Go ahead and talk about shop, man. What's going on? Has anything changed? Anything new before we get into any of our topics today?
Changed, new. Seems like everything is changing and everything's kind of new in its own way. First things first, I'm going through high-level inspection right now in my job. So most of you guys know I've been there since August, so it's only been, 3 or 4 months since I've been here. So we are tackling that right at the moment. So it's busy. It's been busy the last couple of weeks, especially preparing. And that's one of the reasons, like since I've been here, it's been trying to catch up and trying to get ready for this. Everyone needs to be on point for the inspection. And because of that, a lot of time has been drawn toward work, as it should, on the new job, and toward family. But things are picking up, as we discussed last episode. And because of that, I have some stories for you all. Now, we always talk about different clients at different times and points in our podcast career here. But there's this particular client that he hasn't done anything wrong, right? It is the client mentality I kind of want to hit on here. So, that being said, you tell them information, and sometimes people don't, when you're messaging or texting or even on the phone, they do not grasp the information that you need them to, as being, they don't necessarily not understand it, but they don't hear all the information. They kind of hear what they want to hear. So, not trying to talk bad about this particular individual, but this is something I've noticed just pretty much in all aspects of life, right? So I have this client that reached out. I've worked with him before, and good guy, have no problems with him before, but he's like, hey, I need a plaque. I need it by the 22nd of November. Are you able to do that? I'm like, absolutely can. We'll make sure that it's out before, it's due and delivered on the 22nd. He didn't catch the whole delivered part. So I'm like, hey, I will have to ship it to you. I'm no longer in Jersey. I'm in Illinois, and we'll make sure it's done well enough of time where it's going to be delivered to your residence. No issues. So I sent him an invoice, worked with him before. My standard practice is I will not start your project unless you pay the invoice. I am not paying out of pocket for your materials. I just refuse to do it. I got burnt in the past before, in recent past too. Just not going to happen. So I'm waiting for, the entirety of the invoice to be paid, and not being paid. I was going to reach out on Monday, but, Monday flew by. Now it's Tuesday. Wife, Heather, reaches out to me and goes, hey, you might want to check your messages. We might have a small problem. I'm like, okay, well, let's see what this is. So I get home, because it's the only opportunity I could really check my phone. And this client reached out again. He goes, hey, I want to pick it up on Thursday. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I've made sure he realizes that unless he's driving 14 hours, he's not picking this plaque up. So I reached back out to him, and I have not seen his response. Mine was, I cannot finish it in that amount of time and then send it through the mail to get to you by Thursday. If you still like to have this plaque, I need you to pay the invoice so I can get started and then finish and try to get it done with a couple maybe days ahead of time so you can get it a little bit early. Because, business is not what you call booming like it was in Jersey, and I can knock certain things out faster. And, full disclosure, I probably could have worked on it a little this weekend if I would have got paid. I have other projects that I have gotten paid and I'm designing and ready to actually implement in the shop. But that particular one, I knew that I wanted to get out because I had to send it and I had a date associated with it. But I don't like pinging my clients unless I have to about payment because we're all busy and sometimes, slips your mind. And I was giving myself enough time where I could still complete it in a decent amount and yet not irritating the client. So that brings me back to my original statement of only hearing what you want to hear. Even though in both the invoice and our text messaging, I told him I was not in the state and I required an address. He provided the address. He still planned on picking up on Thursday. So when people get busy, sometimes you forget some of the details that you weren't really listening to or read. And it's important for us as makers to understand that and try to navigate those waters the best we can to our ability to help our client get to the understanding of this is what it costs or this is what it takes. This is the process. This is how long it's going to be if it needs to be delivered or picked up. We commonly forget that we do the same thing and we don't always get to grasp the details until the last minute when we actually need to. And it happens, right? So I'm not upset with them. I'm not even irritated. I'm just taken back a little bit by, if the deadline moved up and, have all this traffic back and forth saying it needs to be sent, how do you expect me to send it tomorrow on Wednesday to get there on a Thursday? Unless it's overnighted and it was finished.
Yeah, that's a lot of money for an overnight. And not only money, but that's a lot of sleepless time for you, which, mind you, we've tried to getting out of the habit of doing those last minute, last couple hour projects.
Just to be honest, this year, last year, end of last year, this year, I have come to a realization, I'm just getting too old for certain things. It's not okay. And I'm not saying I'm too old to do it. I can do it and I will do it. And but I'm trying to prevent doing it because it's horrible, especially when you have, you have a family, you have a job that you have to be on point for. You can't be a miserable prick because you didn't get some sleep because of a project. You have to be able to operate at a certain level because you're dealing with high-rank individuals and people's careers if done wrong. And then, there's the whole safety aspect of it, right? My job is to look where no one else is looking and see where no one else is seeing to ensure the safety of basically the people in that facility or that structure, what have you. I have seen things I never thought were possible in this job when it comes to just straight up people not thinking, fires waiting to happen or have happened type of stuff. We joke about certain things and we joke about it never would happen because people are smarter than that. They're not. It's just being honest. So it kind of brings me full circle there, right? So just keep an eye out for your clients. Make sure they're understanding all the details. They have rough days, rough weeks like we do. As being customer service, try to be understanding when that one client just forgets or not listening. Moving on from that soapbox, it took a little bit longer than I planned on, but it's one of those things where, I want to make sure that people understand that because I know in the beginning I didn't, and I would get irritated and frustrated with people because of it. So,
Josh, let me tell you something, man. As far as the client, was it client personality or client actions or behaviors? That's the client behaviors, right? So a lot of people I don't think understand that there is a lot of work that goes into things. People only see the final product. They don't know what goes behind it. When it comes to a due date, they don't. Sometimes I think they forget that they're not the only ones we're servicing, right? That we're providing a service for, and I think they get lost. They're so dumb. I tried to hold it together. I couldn't do it. But they forget that they're not the only paying client. Now, I know sometimes we're not busy and sometimes we're not posting a lot. And some people follow our IGs and whatnot, and they look to see how busy we are maybe before they ask for something. Typically, a person will ask me, like, hey, can you do this? This is a tight timeline. And I'll be like, yeah, I can do that, right? And sometimes they'll try to be like, hey, can I pick it up this day? Be like, no, this is the day that you asked for it. So, case in point, those 9 plaques that I did, which I actually got a 10th one ordered because the person that ordered them did not get a plaque for themselves. One of the people that received a plaque, one of those ammo plaques that I made, actually reached out to me and said, hey, can you make another one for that individual? Because, they've done a bunch of awesome stuff too. Why can't they get one? I'm like, well, that's a fair point. So, but he asked if he could pick it up on like 2 days prior. And I was like, maybe. And then something went wrong. I had three of my plaques warp on me. I had to make 3 brand new. I didn't even epoxy them, thank God. That would have been a nightmare. But I had to tell him, hey, man, I'm going to have to deliver these on the day that you ask for them to be done. And he was totally cool about it, right? But I don't think he thought things could go wrong. And that's where I think most clients also forget is not everything goes perfect the first time. Sometimes we have to remake stuff, and it sucks because we're actually spending now our own money to remake something because we have this thing where, as makers, at least I would hope most makers don't want to put out a shoddy product. They don't just make something and go, oh, they're not going to notice that blemish, which is obviously noticeable. Certain things, not so much, and we can get away with it. But a warped plaque, that's not going to pass. When that thing rocks on a table and you hang it up against the wall and it ain't flat, that's pretty noticeable. So I think that could be one thing. And then the other thing is sometimes, I'm not saying this particular person that you're dealing with, but sometimes they don't respect our time.
There's always that.
That's unfortunate fact. Sometimes that's not the case, but I've had clients that have literally acted like I've got nothing else going on. And by clients, I mean certain people that I'm friends with, or acquaintances with, or I know very well, that think I can just knock something out and be like, oh yeah, it's totally on the way, like right now. It's not always the case. And sometimes I just got to tell people, like, hey, you're just going to have to calm down and wait because you gave me a day. This is the day it's going to be, and cool. And I'll talk, and I mean, I guess I'm diving into mine a little bit, but like I got one of those mini Chief shadow boxes to make. Mm-hmm. And the customer, contacted me multiple times saying, hey, have you started yet? Bob was like, no, I have not started yet. I'm still tracking your order. I will send you the invoice when I start it. Now, mind you, I've started it, haven't sent them the invoice yet. And that's just because the first part of this particular project, such a pain in the rear that I had to start over already on it. I spiked this thing into the ground because I was so pissed at what happened. And I'll talk about what happened when I get to my shop. But the client behavior and how we conduct business, sometimes it doesn't mesh because they just don't understand what goes into things that we do. So
accurate.
That's just my 2 cents on that. But anyways, continue on with the core feel.
A little bit 2 cents on that too. I have been very lucky to have the amount of good clientele I've had. I've had some bad ones. We've shared them on here, but we've had, or at least I've had a lot of luck with my clientele. Let's just leave it at that. And kind of going on to that, we can move on to what else is going on in the shop. So my first shadow box I did for a master sergeant retiring. It was my very first, and they actually reached out to me again for another shadow box. They showed me a picture of their shadow box as well. It is holding up great, which that first one, I built it as I should, but it's always that first one you worry about because you didn't know what you know now versus how to do different things. And, you do different techniques and learn as you go. But yeah, it's holding up great. They showed it to me, and like their mother loved it enough where they actually wanted to get a Navy one for their father husband as
That's cool.
like a Christmas gift or like a late retirement present, very late retirement present. Um, so we're working through some designs. Obviously, I don't have anything to show them because I haven't done anything on the Navy side yet.
The anchor would
Um,
be cool.
well, I pitched those ideas, right? The seal, the anchor, and then the rank. And they're kind of leaning a little too more toward the rank, but they want to see some designs from all three. So I'm doing just some line designs to kind of give them a visual of what it might look like.
So, question for you: are you going to charge them for the different types of designs, or are you just kind of doing it like as a courtesy?
I'm doing it as a courtesy, because they are the first one to purchase a shadow box from me. They reached out for a second one, and I haven't done a Navy one. So only in the end, if someone ever asks me again, I'm able to show them what I'm going to be using.
Future investment.
I'm not doing a 3D design. I'm doing just a line drawing, probably in Lightburn, something very simple that basically can represent what they might be seeing. And I've done this in the past before for complex products, like my trunk. I did like, it was a one, two, it was four, five panel design, 6 panel design, showing them what each side is going to look like, the top, the inner top, the inside, the trays, and it lays it out nice. Now I could be fancy like some people out there and just do a CAD product and kind of have it walk through and stuff like that. I'm not quite there. I'm not making the amount of money I think I would want if that was the case. Just to be honest. I'm just happy they reached out. So I reached out today. I'm like, look, I'm sorry, I haven't got the designs to you. They're like, hey, no hurry. We'll wait for it. And that makes me feel really well because, well, I produced something for them. They liked it enough to reach out again, and they're willing to wait for my work. So good on that. I secured a job with another woodworker, and he wants snowflakes lasered and cut out so he can put them into ornaments and turn them. And I tell you what, the final design is absolutely amazing. He is a listener, and obviously I am going to give him a shout out here. It's Mr. Thorpe. He's a great turner. I'll share a picture with Nap here in the Patreons of some of the stuff he does in the ornament. You might not be able to see it.
Oh no, I see it. Camera. It's good.
But that's kind of like what he's going for. Yeah, Silent H Woodworks. I urge you to check him out on Instagram and to follow his progress. Avid listener of the podcast, so thank you, man, for listening in and reaching out. I look forward to working with you. On that, I also did a snake for somebody on the 3D printer, multicolored. I'm curious if he'll pick up when I'm not going to say his name. I'll say it when he gets it delivered because I haven't told him I finished it yet. But that kind of leads me into the whole 3D printing realm. So as you guys know, for the last week, maybe two, I've had some issues with my 3D printer. So this thing, again, went through a whole move and was just fine. I printed a couple lightsabers, such as this one. With it, I've done a whole bunch of stuff. And actually, I have a 2-part lightsaber over here that I haven't put together quite yet. And it's been doing well. But for some reason, when I put that multicolor filament on, it did not like that. Wasn't like it would print only so far, and then it would stop actually extruding the filament, and like I would still try to print and nothing's coming out. So I'd get back downstairs in the middle of the night, check it, and you got like half of the project and the head's just doing its thing on top, nothing coming out. So I went through and I troubleshot everything I knew. I ordered some new parts, the bed, the whole 9 yards. Got it working, but now it's not adhering to the bed. And I'm like, God, it's new. It's a new sheet. There's no, like, the old bed has a lot of issues, but it somehow worked fine. And this new one is flat, no issues. What is going wrong? So I forget who told me this, but if you have troubles with a heated bed, sometimes there's chemicals and stuff on there that's causing it to not stick. So it's taking soap and water, warm water, wiping it off, kind of washing it off, drying it off. And I tried that, been working fine since. I've been doing little benchy boats, which are basically a test to ensure that everything's working for stringing, whole bunch of other stuff. I did a small one, and then I did a little bit larger one, and then I was confident, and I was going to do full send. I just did the snake, went to bed, woke up, it was done. And I'm like, I got my printer back. I was so happy. So now I have that working. I have the filament to do all the stuff I want to do. I'm going to still continue on my journey with the lightsabers and build them for myself until, other people would like them. Because I really enjoy them. I got to find a way to mount them or put them on the wall somehow. But I think I don't like much like collection items. I'm not about collecting stuff like that. Very choosy, but I think that's something from that Star Wars universe I really enjoy, because each one tells a story and character of all the characters that use them. So I'm grateful that I got that worked out. It didn't cost me as much as I thought it was going to. Honestly, if I would have known the replacement cost for some of the stuff, I would have done it much earlier. But now that it's done, it's done. I have some extra spare parts I didn't have to use. I'm grateful for that as well. Going into the shop, I finished up a character called Boov from Home. It's a cartoon, Paramount, maybe. I think might have been the producer. So I don't personally know, but I have a friend I work with. He's been visiting a family, and the young daughter has been sick with cancer. So we were talking. He was telling me he was up there, and I asked, like, are they a fan of like any Disney movies, or what's their favorite cartoon character? So we made one up for her, and she should be receiving it sometime this week. If anything, hopefully cheers her up a little bit. Cancer's not good for anybody, but for kids, it's a little differently sometimes. So we got that knocked out. There's some other projects that are still like on the CNC that I need to work on, one including the vertical chessboard. I really want to get that done, because once I do one, I think I'm going to be doing more, because once people see them, I think, business will come in for that. And then just, the rest of the projects I mentioned last week. I got a shout out box, possibly a second one we talked about. Ornaments didn't go through. I think they were talking to multiple makers at the same time. And they actually sent something, how do you take payment to me? And he's, oops, sorry, didn't mean to send that to you. And I kind of knew at that point in time that like I lost a job. It's okay. They weren't going to provide me the stuff I needed for it. It's fine. But I'm getting inquiries. I got people reaching out, and that's a start. So I'm hoping during our slight vacation from the podcast in December, we will be doing a 2-part episode going into the 26th, I believe. So Nap is hearing about this the first time. But long story short, we will record a long episode and cut it into 2 parts. That way we don't have to worry about the podcast, and it'll automatically upload and everything for us, so we can enjoy the holidays with our family and his new member, which, he might even be part of that podcast production. And if he is, that's awesome, because we can hear about everything. And if he isn't, we totally understand, because bundle of joy at home is definitely more important.
No, I'm going to be in the hospital recording this thing. I'm going to be like, yo, the baby's here, dude. What's up? And you're way in the background. Oh, I got one.
We're live. And she's having the baby. Yeah, there'll be no more nap.
Yeah, no, if that happened, I'm pretty sure after the epidural wears off, I would be murdered. So take a forever nap, type deal.
Take a dirt nap. Take a nap.
Yeah. A nap. Yeah, I see what you did there.
Yeah, there you go. So, all in all, I could be in a better position. I could be a little bit more up and up on my projects and stuff like that. But I'm good right now. I'm not crushing any deadlines. I haven't blown past any deadlines. Do I have a couple projects that need to go out? Yeah. But those last 4 days, it was busy. I mean, like, it didn't feel like a 4 days. It was so busy. But
It's funny, Josh. You say how you're okay. You're not quite as busy. I wonder. So I was super busy in Texas, like to the point where I was barely getting sleep. I was jobbing till the wee hours of the morning. And now that I'm here, I get jobs, yes. Like I'm procrastinating a little bit, yes, but I know how much it's going to take to do certain things. But I'm okay with not being over inundated with jobs. Yeah, would I like to make some money? Sure. But I know the jobs that do come through, like shadow boxes,
oh
that's a
yeah,
big ticket item. Um, some of the production stuff I do, that's big ticket items. I'm okay with it.
I am too. But like okay, this is the part I'm not okay with. Um, I was so busy in Jersey, but I don't know where my time is going. Like in Jersey, I knew where it was. I knew like I spent time with family here. I was in the shop here. I did this. Here, it's like a time travel every day. I wake up, I go to work, I come home, I'm in bed. I Everything that happens in between is just like a blur. And I kind of brought this up at work today too, because I forget what we're talking about, but in the like we have an office and then another office within the office. Long story short, and there's like four of us guys, and we were talking about some, and I'm like, yeah, just since I moved here, it just seemed like I time travel every day, and at the end of the week, it's the weekend, and then it's Monday. So I'm busy. I just don't know where that time's going. Maybe it's time management. I don't know, but one of the guys suggested it's probably because you're trying to learn everything you can about your new job.
It's new. That's what it is.
And I'm like, that makes sense, because not that I was like the top performer or, like I was pretty good at my old job when I was doing what I was doing. But I was used to that. None of the information was so new. I had to put much thought behind it when it came to like learning. It was more about production and how to get things scheduled and done. And like, I think I was just so used to doing that particular job that like I was creating more time and less of my thought process were, on that. Now I'm learning something completely new, and it was more flexible in Jersey. Wife did mention that here in the chat. But, I think after this particular inspection and I do a little more catch up with knowledge, I'll be more set than I have been. But it's just one of those things where, like I'm better when I'm busy. When I have a lot of jobs out there, I can knock out 7 jobs in a weekend. When I have 2 jobs and they're not due right away, I wait till last minute, or I go out there, do a little bit, I come in, and it's a nice pace, but I like going out there, turning on some music and just cranking out stuff, and at the end of the week, and be like, man, I got this done. I got all this off my plate. I'm a very big checklist item kind of person where like I have a mental checklist of everything that's going on. And as I check those off, those go away. So it's a little bit of everything. But I mean, I kind of do miss the jobs and how busy it was because of that. Now, I have had more time for leisure. I do recognize that like at night, I'm not spending hours to midnight, 1, 2 o'clock in there. I'm able to go ahead and do the VR headset. I played golf yesterday in the VR headset, and it felt real. I'm going to get a fan in here so I can feel the breeze, and then one of those pivoting ones so that it changes on me. And I swear to God, okay, I know this ain't woodworking. I'm telling you, my bad habits on the when I'm golfing carries in the VR headset. That's how accurate it is. I'm sitting there. I'm like, it's a game. I'm going to do great. It's going to be easy. There's probably difficult holes, whatever. No, son of a gun. Like, if I would have sliced in real life, it's sliced in the game. And I'm sitting there like, this ain't going to be fun.
I'm playing an old game of whack over here.
Pretty much. And for those that don't realize, go to YouTube, type in Robin Williams golf, and he explains how golf was created and basically why they call a stroke. And it's not what you're thinking. Family show.
But anything else in the shop there, Josh?
Jeez, I don't know, eh? Um,
Oh, I don't know, eh? Don't you know?
I detect a slight minor accent in that, man. Are you
It's
have
getting
become
there.
a native?
I'm almost there.
You come on with a beard, just fur hat with like a
I went out in the
plaid
backwoods and gave
shirt.
me a little slap and got me a little deer, eh?
I know you're chopping at the bit to tell us your story here, so it's off to you, brother.
It's not chopping off the bit because I'm telling you, I haven't got crap yet out there. But anyways, talk
You
about the
saw
shop.
something, obviously.
Oh, I've seen some things. Just can't do anything about
Not
it.
those things. We can't talk about those.
Well, okay. But anyways, all right. So shop talk real quick, and then I'll talk about my adventures and why I'm on leave right now. All right. So jobs that are going on. So the 9 ammo plaques, they're on the way out the door. I've actually got a 10th one to make because one of the people that received one of the plaques that I made with the epoxy, the coin, and the patch, they really love them, and they want to get one for the member that actually ordered them because they were a part of the council that they got the plaques for. So that's cool. I got one of those. I have one of the dreaded, and I say dreaded just because they're a pain. And as I told earlier part of the episode, is that I haven't even sent the person the invoice yet because that first part of the box is such a pain in my rear that I want to make sure that part's done before I even send the invoice. Mind you, it'll get done. I just want to make sure that everything's going to go according to plan. But it's one of those mini Chief Shadow boxes with the white stripes and the blue background paint. So,
do you want to remind us what happened last time you did this?
Well, last time, there's many things that happened last time I did this.
Okay,
but
summary.
But I can definitely report that one of the same things happened on this one that it happened on the previous ones. So I put some vinyl down to use as masking instead of Aura mask. I had started using it after seeing another maker use it, and it worked well. However, this time around, for some reason, the vinyl, I don't know what happened. It's just not doing. It might be dull bit. I think it actually might be the case of dull bit not being able to cut the vinyl as crisp as I want it to. But I cut the first one, and I was like, I don't like the way that looks. Hopefully, if I peel this vinyl off, I can fix some things. Well, after I got done cutting the entire facade for this mini shadow box, on the back I had blue. I had pre-sprayed some navy blue just to get a pre-coat on there, just so I'd have to spray quite as much when I went to finish it. And I sanded it, and I had blue on my hand. But wasn't even thinking about the blue in my hand. So I go to peel the vinyl off one of the white stripes to see how it looks, and then I was going to cover it with tape before I painted the facade because I was going to waste all that time just to peel it just for it to be jacked up. So I peeled it off, and the clear coat came off. I was like, what the? Beep. And
thank you.
Yeah. So I peeled it off, and it all came off, and I'm like, this can't be happening right now. As I'm peeling it, I went to touch the edge of it, and there's blue in my hand. The blue touched the white. Once the blue touches the white, it's game over. There's nothing you can do about it. Like, legitimately, there's next to nothing you can do about it other than try to repaint it, which is even more of a hassle in its own. So I looked at it, contemplated for about 5 seconds, and then I proceeded to spike it into the ground because I knew it was over and I wasn't going to waste my time. So I spiked the shadow box that's made out of pine into the floor. It shattered. Made me feel great about myself. But then I realized I got to make a new one. So I went out and got new paint today. I'm trying something different. I'm hoping it works a little better. I think because of the chemical compound of Krylon and using, what the heck is it called? The clear coat's a water-based clear coat. It's spar urethane. But it's Minwax spar urethane. Problem is I don't think it adhered properly to the white. So I'm going to use the white gloss, and then I'm going to use the white clear coat. Or white clear coat. The Krylon clear coat. And it should be better this time. It should set just the way it needs to set. And then I'll put the vinyl on and go about my business. Now, if it does not settle right this time, it's okay because I can spray another clear coat over it. But what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to make sure I have a really sharp bit. I'm going to test it on one of the pieces that I had already put the stuff on to make sure it gets a clean cut on the vinyl. I also may take a V-bit and run a tracing path or a profile on all the pieces that are going to have the vinyl to protect it. so that way the vinyl doesn't tear when that end mill goes through and does its path. So we'll do that, and then all should be good. And then making the actual frame itself, I've become quite the aficionado here on making frames. I've learned a lot about angles. Ever since my grandfather and my dad visited the last time, they showed me some things with some angles and like how to make things a certain way, and things have gone a lot better with that. So I can actually probably crank this shadow box out by Friday, send it out by Monday. It'll make it by the deadline of November 30th. And then I have the combat controller whiskey glass box. It's not a decanter box. It's just for whiskey glasses. I don't remember if I talked about this last podcast, but real quick recap is it's for the member that's receiving it and also a glass for his father or late father. And it'll have a symbol. So that way when he's having his bourbon, he can have a glass of bourbon with his dad. So going to do that. There's going to be some coins inlaid into it and all this stuff. So that's going to happen as well this weekend. And then I have this is where things get a little solemn, right? A little sad. So my parents had a dog pass away, and then not even a couple weeks later, another dog passed away. So first one was, I think it was like zinc poisoning. Somehow the dog got a hold of a washer, which was weird.
No.
Yeah, so that was like a freak accident. Like they're not even sure where the washer came from. So there's that. And then the other dog, I guess, had like pancreatitis or something crazy. There was like no chance. It was like 20% chance of saving the dog. And my parents will spend all the money in the world to save an animal, but there was no reason to if the dog had really no chance to survive. So Honker, being the first dog, and Beulah, they both passed away, and I got to make urns for them. And then I had one of my older bosses who's here. I call him older boss. I was part of the squadron at PCA, and now he's an older boss. He reached out. They ended up having to put their dog down. I was like, Jesus, all these animals just dying. Like, I don't mean to laugh, but it's like what is happening? So I'm making 3 memorial projects for animals. But this one is a German Shepherd. I want to say this dog was prior military working dog because they gave me a flag and everything. So I think this dog was a retired military working dog, and I think they adopted him or her. Sorry, and they want to make a flag box with the picture of the dog. So I'm going to do like flag box bottom, and then picture, like it'll have like a panel in the back where I can put up the picture and then hang the collar because they have the collar as well. And then they have a little cross that their son made. That I'm going to glue because it was a wooden cross that they made and put on a router and did all these things, and I'm going to glue it to the piece. So that'll be done as well. There's no rush on that one. That's just when I can get it done. I plan on getting it done well before my son is born because once my son is born, I'm closing the shop. I ain't doing nothing in there until like 2 weeks in, and I'm losing my mind and I need stuff to do. So there's those projects. I'm looking around to make sure. Nope, that's all the projects here in Naps Not at Work. So a lot of the big ticket stuff got done. I could have a shadow. I have another shadow box on the rise. Member reached out to me. He's an airman or staff sergeant getting out. He's just getting out. He's just done, and he wanted something to commemorate his military time. And I was like, okay, cool, bro. And I know him. He was an airman of mine back when I was at Seymour Johnson. So that's pretty cool that he reached out and, he wanted something from someone that he knows rather than just some Etsy store where he knows nothing of the person. And he knows that I'm going to make him something nice. So I'm going to do that. And then that's about it for the projects as far as time off. So I took leave from today because yesterday was the end of the 4-day weekend. I know, Josh, you're feeling it. You're in a new job, bud. Learn it, and then you can take leave.
Never.
Yeah, right. I actually had someone we were talking about it. Is like, yeah, I suffer like the real ones. I was like, yeah, I suffered for 13 years before I was able to start taking leave. So I'm taking my leave now when I feel like I need it.
I'm forced to take leave every year.
Yeah, well, I didn't do that for like the first 5 years because I thought like they think low of you when you didn't take leave or when you did take leave. And then I took leave once, and then I felt like I missed a bunch of stuff, so it was very sporadic. And now I'm just like, yeah, when I need leave, I just take leave because I want the time off. But there was another reason for it. It was deer hunting. So it was my first deer hunting season ever in North Dakota. And period dot. Like, never been hunting before. for deer. So I went out for the first 2 days. Regrettably, not regrettably, I'm actually really happy for them. Two of my friends both got their deer within the first hour and a half of the first day they went out. That makes me mad.
Were you on a farm?
Well, so I think experience. I'm gonna go with experience plays a piece in it.
Okay.
One of them has been here for like 10 years. Hell, even maybe a little longer than that. And he knows North Dakota. So I honestly wasn't surprised when he said he got his. He was kind enough to share his spot with me that he went. So that's where I'm going to go tomorrow morning, really early, by the way. But I tried to get back to my other buddy who said, he's like, I'm looking at 5 of them right now. Get here now. And I was like 10 minutes away. And because we split off, we're not going to hunt together. That's just weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it could be pick your deer and shoot and be like, oh God, we shot the same one. Oh no.
Hey, Hey, Bobby, stop holding my hand so I can shoot this deer.
So I got there and there was like 7 other hunters there. So I was like, well, I'm screwed. So first day was a bust for me. Well, because they had scared them off into posted land. So I couldn't go after them. So that was day 1. Day 2, I went out solo. By the way, okay. I'm gonna be the first to say it. I'm a little timid, a little scared to go out solo, and the reason why was because I've already had a run-in with a farmer last year, where he didn't post properly, and he got my stuff about being on his land when it was posted, and I informed him that he didn't properly post his land, because there are certain rules in North Dakota that you're supposed to post on all corners of your land, and then if you're more than a certain amount of yards or whatever, you're supposed to post, within, certain intervals. In this case, 880 yards, which is roughly a half a mile. So if you have a lot of land, you're supposed to go corner, and then it says conspicuously post within those intervals. Well, he didn't post on every corner, and if he did, it was hidden by snow at the time, so he can't see it. Like, I'm not going to go digging into the corner of your lot to find out if you're still posted. Sorry, not my problem. Well, anyways, dude made some idle threats, and well, now I'm a little more timid about going on people's land. So I'm very, very cautious. I check more now than I did when I first started. But a lot of land here is posted. So my second day out, I went out alone, on a solo, and I saw a deer all on posted land. Like they're smart or something. Like they just know. Like, you can't get me, mother. Yeah. And we're just going to frolic in this cornfield or bean field, and we're going to eat and laugh at you while we're over here. And I'm just like, okay, that's cool. I'm going to find you. Don't you worry. You step hoof on unposted land, I'm smoking you. But anyways, that's my tirade on that. But going into, I'm going to go a little further north tomorrow. So what I've noticed is in my particular zone, so in North Dakota zones, yeah, you joke. That's actually going to happen. So in North Dakota, and I'm pretty sure it's like this in all the other states, being inexperienced, I don't know this, but I'm in a zone and I can only hunt in that zone for deer. I can go everywhere else for pheasant.
Your tags are associated to that zone, yeah.
Exactly. So I have my one tag. Now, lesson learned, I'm going to get 4 tags next year, but one for each different zone, so I can go in any direction of North Dakota, find a deer and smoke it, right? And then, well, we say that, right? But still going to try it anyways. From what I'm gathering with intel, a little more east is where they're all at. Like, it didn't matter where you're at, you'll find them. Where I'm at currently, it's a little harder because there's been a lot of pressure from the hunters, so it's been a little more difficult. But I'm going to go up north further. I'm going to go really close to Canada because I can go all the way up to Canada. That's my part of my zone. And as well as a couple spots that were marked out by 2 of my buddies. I'm going to start in one of the spots because he said there was a couple, and he only got one of them. And deer are smart, but they still go back to where their bed down is. And if they're bedding down in those particular areas, they're going to be there no matter what. So I'm going to check it out. I'm getting up at roughly 5 in the morning, leaving by 5:30, getting out to my spot.
How long does it take you to get to there, and by when are you set up ready to hunt?
So I'm leaving at 5, should be there by 6:30. First sunlight is 7:45. I can't shoot until 45, so 30 minutes. So 7:15 is when I can technically take a shot. So
Are you taking a shower the night before or the?
No, I don't. No, I haven't showered since this morning. So
that makes sense. I can smell you from here.
Yeah. No, so I know the rules, right? So I'm not gonna put you. This sounds
Hey,
disgusting.
I
For
am
people
not trying to
listening.
talk down to you or anyone else. I'm not saying I am the best hunter out there. I'm not even saying like I'm a good hunter. I've got some deer over the.
Yeah, we're good. We're right. We're good.
I'm just, I don't even get to hunt every year, and when I do get to hunt, once in a while I get a deer, right? But my family, definitely on my father and my mother's side, they've done a lot of hunting, and like I've learned a lot. So if you got any questions, I'm sure there's a lot of us out there that listen to this podcast that hunt and probably could tell you, their 2 cents. But there's a lot of things you might not think about that might be ruining your hunt, being that you've only gone out, twice now? Was it once or twice?
Yeah, 3 will be tomorrow.
Okay. You might not be thinking about because, well, it's just oversight because we all do that when we're new. But, this is one of those things. I'm sure you've done reading. I'm sure you've talked to people. I'm not going
I've
to
been
get
reading
too
a
far into
lot.
it.
Been listening to a lot of my friends that have been doing this for a while. The whole not showering thing, I knew that well before I was ever hunting
Well,
because
you
I've
could
seen
shower.
funny stories.
They have soap with no scent on it and stuff like that. But you
True.
can't be putting your deodorant and your cologne on before you
I'm
step.
just not going to put deodorant on. I'm not. Listen, I'm going to wake up tomorrow, get dressed in my hunting stuff, and I'm going.
Your wife's going to kick you out of the house.
And I haven't even. So here's the thing: I haven't even washed my hunting gear because once you get out there, from my understanding, you don't want to wash it until you've got what you want. At that point, because if you have that, what was it, that soap smell or the lavender fresh and gain.
I'm going to give you this, and people could say I'm wrong, but deer are curious. So my first season of hunting will say, I thought I couldn't move at all. I thought I could barely, like, you sit in the stand and you're like, you do the 1 degree every hour movement, whatever, right? Are you tree stand hunting or are you ground hunting?
No bullshit. I'm literally walking out to the spot. I'm actually taking my stool tomorrow. You've
been sitting on the ground?
Yeah.
That you haven't been cold?
No, it's been 56 degrees here in North Dakota. It's it's not right. It's been warm here.
Anywho, I tell you what, most of the deer I've ever got is when I actually just break down and say, So there's been times I'm pouring coffee, just literally just pour coffee, and deer walk by, and I'm like, boom. I mean, there's been times where I wake up and see a deer in front of me, and I'm like, oh, boom. Like, I'm the sleeper. I'm the hunter that sleeps until they hear something, and then I pop up. I'm 50-50 with that. I've seen them coming, but a lot of times I'll take a nice little nap and have a cup of coffee, and they roll. But as tree stand hunting is a lot different from ground. Eye level versus in a tree.
Yeah, no. After the moose I saw the other day, there ain't no way in hell I'm sleeping. That moose had paddles the size of my body, homie. I was like, oh no.
You get one of those, you're good with meat.
I'll tell you what, can't. Because of one, not a North Dakota resident, and two, it's a once in a lifetime tag here in North Dakota. So,
oh, no kidding.
Yep. So if you get it, you better find one because you won't get it ever again.
That's crazy. I didn't know
that. But to move past this, we can get into, or at least the one topic we talked about real quick. So I'll go out tomorrow morning. Not showering, not putting deodorant through all the pretty shit on me because that's just not. Yeah, they're curious, but they're not curious about why it smells like roses over here, right?
I doubt you smell like roses. In fact,
no, I don't.
I know you do.
I smell like, we cuddled once, remember? Workbench Con?
I think you were a little spoon. 23. 23.
Yeah, 23. You were a little spoon. I may have used your towel, but you're a little spoon. But I'm going to go out, hopefully have some luck tomorrow, get a little joy, kill me a doe, get some meat in the freezer, and then I can take the rest of my leave up until next week, Tuesday. Much needed time off, but also because I am new to this, I'm trying to learn a lot about the landscape, know what places are good for what. I've learned a lot. I may not have gotten anything, but I've learned a lot about where I can hunt some upland game, a lot of birds, between partridge, pheasant, grouse. I know where the ducks are. I know where a lot more ponds are than I knew before. A lot of learning this year. I've been more involved in the hunting scene this year than I was last year. And to be fair, you all may not like killing animals out there, but I'm going to tell you what. I'm not spending $80, and that's exaggerating, right? It's $40 to $60 on a turkey when I can go smoke a goose out in the freaking field and bring that back for Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you're wrong.
That's $25 for a duck stamp here in North Dakota. I'll take that. But anyways, I digress. So moving into some things, right? Real quick. We only got like 8 minutes. Yeah, this topic's going to go fast. But then again, the honey-do list ain't that big for me anyways.
So let's not go through all of it. Let's pick one project that you are definitely going to try to do before the end of the year and why you want to get it done before the end of the year.
All right, Tim's going to love this, okay? I'm going to make a new dining room table before the end of the year. Because one, the dining room table I have currently is a piece of IKEA shit. The current table that I have now has been gnawed on, scratched, colored on, painted on by my son, first son, Zane. He chewed on, as a baby, he chewed on the sides of the table. No wonder he's so weird. And there's marks that you just can't fix. You're like, what happened here? Did a small animal chew on this? But no, when my kid figured out he could like chew on things, he just started chewing on everything. And the table was like at mouth level, and he was just chewing on the side of it. It was just weird.
You just walk in and you see half a head.
I kid you not, man. It was like, I was like, Zane, stop chewing on the table. It's not an additional source of fiber. That's not even real wood. Stop it. But yeah, so there's that. Yeah. But so there's that, and you know, it's been with us for 5 years. It's taken some abuse as an IKEA table, and stuff like that's not meant to last that long, to be honest with you. And a tablecloth can only do so much. So I'm going to spend the money. I'm going to buy the legs probably off of Amazon. I'm not going to make wood legs. I'll just get metal legs.
You have a rotary CNC.
Yeah, no, I want metal legs. Okay, fine. I'll make wooden legs. But the thing is,
you literally can make anything you want.
But those legs won't be long enough. It's only so long. It's like, I think,
do 2 parts and use a dowel.
Nope, not doing it. It's a point of breaking. See, I like doing this because I love seeing his face when he gets mad. We'll see. But the table will be made. I'll make a story on it, and I may even actually do some hand tool type things to put it together. Yeah, I'm gonna use some hand tools. Hand tools.
You're a tool.
I'm gonna watch some of Tim's IG stuff with the table he made. Maybe learn some things because I did see some cool stuff on there that I learned from watching his stuff, and then I'll probably watch a couple other folks as well just to get some ideas. But yeah, that's the project I want to make, just because I'm tired of having this IKEA table that is damaged in every which way possible. Oh, and then my dad would get a kick out of this if he listened to this. But a flower box for my wife. That's been a source of consternation for 8 years now. Anyways,
back up just a tad.
Yeah.
8 were in years. Texas.
Yeah, so we were. No. Okay, it's an exaggeration. 6 years. So my dad visited us, or my mom and dad visited us in Texas, and my wife started trying to be a gardener. She wanted to somehow resurrect the green thumb she never had. Sorry, honey, you have a brown thumb. Everything you try to do dies. And I say it to her face, and then she said she's going to give me the forever nap, but it's fine because she hasn't done it yet. That doesn't mean she won't do it now, but I'm going to make her a flower box one of these days. Probably not while I'm in. It'll happen when we have a forever home, and I can attach it to the side of the house.
That door behind you cracked open just a tad. Let you know.
No, not that one. I was like, oh God, I'm going to die. But yeah, anyways, that's one that's for the way later times. But Josh, how about your honey-do list, bud? Heather, tell us about all the projects you've asked Josh to make and he hasn't made you yet. Get me off the hook, please. Save me.
Save him. That was a very long list. So, personally, the honey-do list, there are a couple of things, but what I really want to get completed before the end of the year is I have 2 side tables for our bedroom. I've talked about it before. I already have the piece of wood. I already have the mold for it. I need to get more epoxy. I used a lot of epoxy in the last project. So I need to go ahead and secure
That's
some
your
of that.
fault, though.
It is my fault. Like, I made mistakes. It's never ending over here. Anyway, so I definitely want to do that, and I kind of want to incorporate it. So I do a headboard, and then the other two sides are part of that same project. So it's kind of like a theme that goes from our bed all the way into the
Oh, a headboard, huh?
a headboard. But so that's the plan. I have a very unique vision for it. It's much like the table, but on a grander scale. I learned a lot of lessons with that. I have bought that large mold sense. I should be able to go ahead and complete this project fairly easily. Is once I get the epoxy. That's the biggest limit factor right now. I actually might talk to Heather about it offline to see if she's up for getting the epoxy so I can just get started. Because I have quite a few epoxy projects I would like to do. I just have to get the product for. But then again, like everybody, I have the long list of I'm going to build this, I'm going to build that. It's just a matter of time for some things. And what else is being said? Yeah, I do want to say last week was our anniversary. Heather was a champ when the dog was deciding to join the podcast for that night. And I might have strategically left the dog upstairs with her when I came downstairs. So I'm going to say thank you for that. But yeah, that's the big, I maybe 3 projects. The headboard's going to be mounted to the wall just because we have beds that raise and lower and stuff like that. So, but I think it would tie the room in together fairly well, and definitely add a little bit of green and natural wood to our bedroom set. But I think that should wrap up our podcast for the 177th episode.
Hang on, no, you're not getting off the hook that easy. Hold on.
Damn.
So Heather says, "Happy life, happy life." You know this, Nap. And I was like, "Yes, I do know this." And the funny thing is I do a lot of things, okay, to make the wife happy. Between cleaning, I cook. Oh, and hey, by the way, I decided to take it upon myself to go out today and buy all sorts of Christmas decorations to decorate this freaking house. And
what happened to the ones you had?
Oh no, we have some. Just didn't have all. I got light up deer today. I got icicle lights that didn't have the plugins. What?
I just realized we moved and everything. I had the house set up like I knew where everything
You
went.
just realized you have to figure it all out again.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, so I've never decorated the house since I've been married. The outside of it anyways. And so I realized I bought icicle lights today that did not have the plugins on the ends of them. As I'm hanging the first string, I go, where the fuck am I going to plug the other end of this into? And there was no plug. So I'm like, well, taking these back to Menards tomorrow, and I'm getting me new icicle lights because I'm hanging those. I already hung the wreath. That's out there. It was a good start. I got some gear to put in the front.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm decorating the whole house.
I used the plug out front, too.
Oh, you're so fucked.
Oh, I know. I'm going to do the Grinch thing. It's one string of lights. The Grinch is stealing the lights in the bag with Max, and just do that. Call it a day.
Yes!
Let's hurry up and end the episode before Heather hears that and says no.
But yeah, all right. Hey, folks, check it out. So 177th episode. We are 23 episodes from episode 200. There are some things in the works, some things in the talks about episode 200. A lot more to come when that does happen. I know Workbench Con, we're going to have specific episode plan for that. Instead of a later in the evening giveaway, there's probably going to be more of a morning giveaway. There's so much stuff going. Yeah, 10:30ish, maybe.
Eastern Standard Time?
Yeah,
on
possibly.
the 2nd?
Yeah. That trip is going to be interesting because I'm flying into Josh's home of residence. Heather, I hope you knew this, but I'm flying there. And then that'll be the day prior.
That's stupid.
Yeah, right. You probably asked her like weeks in advance before you even told me.
No,
which is very smart of you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. So I'm flying in a day prior to Illinois to hang out with Josh for the evening, and then we'll drive out in the morning. We'll get to Atlanta, We'll enjoy Workbench Con, and then we'll come back, and then I'll stay an extra day, and then I'll come back to Minot. So honestly, I kind of like that better because, first of all, the first time around, I didn't even get home until like a day later. Like, I didn't get home on time. It was terrible. And my wife even had to like drive out to a whole other airport, like 2 hours away from the house just to get me. But anyways, besides the point, we're running over here. But we got a lot coming up. I know that Instagram has been a little sparse. I know Heather has been resurrecting our IG, and I do very much appreciate that, Heather. Thank you for your help because it's much needed. 2 people doing this thing, it's not easy. And to be fair, you know how busy we are, and it's a pain in the rear to try to get all the extra stuff in. So again, very much appreciate you. And then we, with all these giveaways coming up, I know Josh has got giveaways planned out already to next Christmas. I mean, listen, we're thinking about you all. We're making sure the patrons are taken care of. We're making sure the community is taken care of. Help take care of us. Spread the word about our podcast. Spread the word about our lives, the patron, all these things. Because guess what? This is a community. We help the community. You help the community. So let's just keep making it stronger. But let's go ahead and finish up with final words. Josh, what you got, man?
So, again, and thank you for listening to the 177th episode. We hope you enjoyed this podcast. We changed things up a lot since we first started this whole entire podcast. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it for the better. I know I like the flow a lot better. We talk about our lives. We talk about the shop. We talk about woodworking. This new year, we do have some changes planned. Hopefully you will enjoy those as well. Like anything, if we're going to continue this, we need to change different things to make sure we grow. And with that, if you have any ideas, things you want to hear, things you want us to talk about, if you're enjoying us talking about a little bit of hunting and different things like that, let us know. We used to say this a lot not too long ago where we tell you to reach out and, tell us what you like and don't, but do that for us. It helps us develop a podcast that you guys love listening to. We like it. We could just BS. If we get on here, we get to BS about
I have a good
happening.
time every week, so
yeah.
It's a good conversation.
So with that, we welcome any kind of feedback you might have. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and say, hopefully you get in the shop. You go make some sawdust. Sawdust Nation out. Out. How do you do it in my 90s?
Sawdust Nation out, eh?